No.
You're awfully grumpy today, dog.
I'm not.
Aren't we all grumpy?
It's Memorial Day. It'll do that to some people.
Oh, it is Memorial Day, isn't it?
Pre-show.
And I just got the notification.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make it look like Yankum does, but I came as close as possible.
Clearly close.
I just
That
don't
works
have the
for me.
I just don't have the blue background. I just used the thumbnail for the video to make the background. I know what widget he uses for the chat and whatnot, so I just used it, but I don't have it set up the same as him, but close enough.
So perfect.
Just on the Facebooks.
So what color do you want the XFL's balls to be, guys?
Blue.
Black.
Blue.
I say the classic black and red. That's good for me.
Put spikes on it too.
Also need some flames on it.
I
Just
want-
make the ball go faster.
I want the Blood Bowl football in the XFL.
That'd actually be pretty neat. It's like a white base like football with like red splatter paint on it.
And like freaking spikes on the ends of it. If you don't catch it right, you're fucked.
All I remember about the old ones is that they were really slippery because of that black, like, surface on top
Oh
of it.
yeah, because it wasn't just yeah. It was like the way they
Hopefully
tanned the
figure
leather
it.
for the black. It made it harder to. It made it more slick.
Yeah.
Do. All right. It's like we're all ready. Let's hit that theme.
Hold on one second. And the fortune cookie says, well-arranged time is a good sign of a well-arranged mind. Well, that leaves me out.
Recently had one come up to say that my dearest wish will come true, and another one that says, wait, let me go grab it. I can't freaking remember it off the top of my head.
My fortune cookie told me to kill myself.
Damn.
That wasn't a fortune. Fortune cookie.
So I have one that reads, "Blessed are the children, for they shall inherit the national debt."
No.
I will take a picture of it if you don't believe me.
I believe you.
Damn,
What
man.
I don't believe is that the bot is missing.
All I can say is don't go to that restaurant anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
Where's the bot?
Rhythm bot?
The bot's like offline.
Yeah, I don't even know how to bring it into the channel if it's offline.
Well,
We should just like all Beavis and Butthead the theme together.
No. Not right now. Hold on.
Ah.
Hold on. Let me try to figure this out first.
I don't know. I was trying to do a theme on my base.
Oh, somebody just dropped a walk.
Good for them.
It looks online. Let's see. Why doesn't it look online here, though?
Alright. I'm using the internet. I might be fucked on this.
We might be. I'm still looking to see how to turn it on.
Usually you go down to its crotch and you kind of
Well, I've already done that part, but that's what you're way better at that than I am.
I know.
So you might want to do that.
Yeah, we need to know how to turn on a computer program, not a sex bot.
Oh, it is a sex bot. You didn't know this? What kind of business do you think we're running here? Do 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 do. Do, 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 do.
I got no idea. This is
You
really
have to go into its Discord and invite it back over into ours, I think. But I do not remember my password at the moment, and I have to go through the browser to do it.
Hooray!
Ah, the wonders of modern technology.
working on it.
Yeah.
Well,
By the time we get on the air,
Just like an hour late.
which will be the funny part.
Well, for us, that ain't too horribly bad. I think I'll go back to that. Oh, hello.
Hi.
I'd use it to bring it in, but I can't, because I have to log in through my
Rhythm.
browser. Let me reset my password anyways.
2 seconds. Working on it. Done. We should be good. Now, maybe.
It's still offline.
What the fuck? Hold on.
Should we just say
Troubleshooting.
fuck the intro?
Yeah, nothing helps. Alright, fuck it. Burn it.
I have an idea. Wait. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but
Do what earlier?
He isn't my
I think
technical
he's just
producer,
playing
but
over the thing.
the theme is on the YouTube, and I can try to remember where it is, and there's so many episodes to go through to find it.
Fuck it. We don't need the theme.
Wait, I got it. Well, hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 304 of the Smark Snark podcast. My name is Gunnar, and over there is our co-host, Omega VR.
Oh, have we started?
We've started.
Oh, an hour late, just like the pay-per-views from now on.
Well, that would be an hour early.
Yeah, that would be. Speaking of early, it's Vassar, our wonderful pinch hitting.
I heard they're going an hour.
They are going an hour later.
Oh, I thought they were starting an hour earlier, but whatever. Okay.
Whatever. But Vassar, it's Vassar! Yay!
Yay! I had to throw everything together last minute to host the show.
That happens. Also joining us this week is Where?
What up, everyone?
Shao Kahna's here.
Hello, everyone. Sorry we're late, but I was too busy killing everyone.
Pretty much. Jester's around somewhere.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? And I'm just walking out of the wonderful Panda Express to paraphrase the immortal words of Hawkeye Pierce. When the gods from Mount Olympus were tired of sending out for pizza, they went out for this stuff.
Maybe. Save us, dog.
No, I can't really save you. I can't save anyone. And I don't know why you're comparing us to the new WWE pay-per-views, because no one's going to watch those either.
I mean, who does, really?
Yeah.
I mean, who? I mean,
After
honestly,
this one, ugh.
Nothing says fun and excitement like 4 straight hours of backlash.
here, let
With
me
a 2-hour pre-show.
let's get in with this. Ready? So we're going to go with the news. We're going to talk about the TV deal. Fox Network will acquire SmackDown in 2019 and put it on Friday nights. Either Amazon or Facebook bid higher, but the high-profile network won out in the end. Between this deal and Raw staying on USA, WWE will earn between $2.2 and $2.4 billion over the next 5 years. ESPN outbid Fox for the UFC rights with a $1.5 billion deal, to give you some reference here. So basically, because of the way that WWE arranged this sort of crap, they robbed the bank and kept the money too. I mean, this is a ridiculous coup for the WWE. I mean, we spoke about it last week with the price going up, but this is just absolute insanity at this point.
Yeah, WWE doesn't really have to put out a good product anymore. They don't really have to try anymore, because at this point, over the next 5 years, they have fuck you money.
Yeah, that's kind of my takeaway from it too, is that as long as everything mostly holds steady and SmackDown, they'll probably pour some more into it by the time 2019 comes around, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Like, the thing that
Remember-
sucks is if their ticket sales completely tanked and they stop selling merchandise for the next few years, they'd still be good. That's really sad.
They could stop doing house shows entirely and still be just fine. I mean, people don't understand how big of a windfall this is. I mean, this is like, it's basically their entire company. I mean, we've seen the stock price jump as much as it has over the past year, and this TV deal is going to fund the WWE for the next forever. People keep talking about how genius it is and how brilliant Vince McMahon of a businessman Vince McMahon is. A lot of this has to do with timing and luck. They just happen to have their deal expire at a time when live TV is getting massive, massive sums of money because nothing else draws on TV like live TV does, especially for advertisers.
Absolutely. You could also thank Stephanie for actually doing her job as the brand manager for the WWE. And she is a huge part in how WWE turns itself around from, where it was back in 2010, 2011 when she took the job, basically, and then now. It's a 180 from the direction that they were heading in, trying to stay relevant on the backs of celebrities that you'd have at Comic-Cons as opposed to, actual fucking growth, which they manipulated through, people using their Facebook and Twitter and all that nonsense to show people other numbers, which is how they got the TV deals in the first place. You all ready for this? All right.
Carney trucks.
Da, 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 da. Oh.
So we're going to play out WrestleMania week for you. Get ready for this one. Wednesday, NXT taping. Thursday, it'd be podcast time for us. But it would also potentially be the WWE Hall of Fame. Friday, SmackDown. Saturday, NXT TakeOver. Sunday, WrestleMania. Monday, Raw.
Jesus.
Oh, my dear God in heaven. And that does not take into account, of course, WrestleCon and all its myriad of shows.
And you take that programming schedule I just gave you, multiply it by 3, and you have the wrestling content that will be going on that particular weekend.
It's going to be a weird shift because for the past, ever since SmackDown left UPN, Raw's been the more important show, and it's not even been close. And this is the first time since that point when SmackDown is going to be the more important show, and we're still 2 years away from it, or a year, I should say.
Yeah, that's the other point about it, is the fact that since it's going to be on the Fox network, like the one you get over the cable broadcasting little, bunny ears, if you would, whether you get a digital signal or not, which I think you're supposed to at this point, you're going to get this whole thing. You're going to get all of SmackDown on a Friday night on Fox, which blows my mind because it's like that's national network television.
Oh, yeah. It is national network television, but there is one more question that we need to ask. Does anybody think that it's a good idea to SmackDown to 3 hours?
It's
Fox
not.
does. Fox and the advertising money they want to make does. I don't think they will do it just because so many Fox stations around the country have that earlier news start, and that's key for their stations, their local ones. But the idea of something where SmackDown goes for 2 hours and then an extra bonus hours on FS1 is not out of play here. We really don't know how this show is going to look in a year and a half.
And you also have to realize that the FS1 show is going to, they might even put a replay on Saturday mornings on FS1, which means that we're going to get Saturday morning wrestling again, which I which an edited version of wrestling down to, you know, the main points essentially, and pitched it more towards kids, I think that would be a fantastic thing. I mean, they obviously tried to do that with Saturday Morning Slam, but could you imagine Saturday Morning Slam coming back?
Oh, yeah, I could.
You know, I think we better gear up for the apathy era, gentlemen.
Yes.
I mean, nothing. I mean, look, the last, since WCW folded, really, the last 10, 15 years, they haven't really had to try. And now you've got, I mean, literally, merchandise. Have you seen some of the shirts they're putting out now?
Oh,
Merchandise, live events, network subscriptions. They don't have to do any of it. Like this totally sets them, and they're totally justified in whatever it is they do because they're not going to go under.
apparently the WWE eShop's new tactic for making merchandise is have a letter, make it huge, and then some shit around it, and then a stupid saying in the back.
Yeah,
It looks like they're made in Microsoft Paint. It's preposterous.
Yeah, it's like
And then the Ember Moon Ring of Fire shirt is,
that one. Yeah,
it looks like something a 50-year-old dude driving in a giant truck would wear.
Yeah, that's Times New Roman on the front. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I've seen like indie shirts that look way better than this sold for way less.
The Dawn of the Eclipse font is the NXT font.
Yes, exactly. The thing Undisputed Era has the same font on their shirt.
They do. This is quite possibly some of the laziest merchandise I have ever seen. I mean, it's not as bad as the hats with the ponytails that lets you pretend that you're the girls, but I seriously can't believe the quality that's coming out now. And yes, Omega's absolutely right. Welcome to the apathy era, boys. Welcome to the era of where the writing doesn't matter, where every time that, you know, we think we're going to get something good out of WWE, we just don't. And they just shovel. This is literally the shovelware of the WWE at this point, which is the perfect time and opportunity for them to collapse upon themselves. You can see the writing's on the wall here at this point.
This is the danger. Exactly. You said it yourself. This is the danger. They have so much money. This is the perfect time for them to rest on their laurels and lose fans and lose viewers and go down a hill. I mean, they keep saying that during the Attitude Era, it was necessary to bring the Attitude Era along because WCW was about to put WWE out of business. I've never subscribed to that theory, but people say that it's possible. Well, now I'm telling you, it's possible that through its own stupidity and laziness, WWE could go the way of the dodo bird.
Here's the thing. We're talking about later is going to be the apathy era, not like now. You're telling me Backlash wasn't one of the most apathetic pay-per-views you've ever seen in your life? Like, it's going to get worse than that. And it's going to be fucking longer. Why did they decide to make the pay-per-views longer? It makes no sense.
Because they're doing less. Well, they're doing less of them, you know, by like 1 or 2 or something like that, and they have to include both brands on the pay-per-view.
Here's my thing about this. You know WWE is about to get bad. You know it's the perfect time. It's the perfect time to support your indies and time to support things like New Japan, All that. It's time to support the other federations.
Can I be perfectly honest with you guys? I heard a startling statistic. The budget for New Japan Pro Wrestling is 1/20th of the WWE.
Yeah, and they put out a way better product.
Like, you get a mass marketing machine behind the WWE, which is obviously ripe for being purchased. By the way, if you haven't noticed, with what their stock is doing, I'm sure that you know Steph and Triple H don't want to sell necessarily, but I could see where Vince is being like, this XFL thing is going to be fun. I really want to focus on this. If I sold WWE, Right.
I mean,
To me,
not
this is
anymore.
huh?
Not anymore. Not with the stock raising like it is. Yeah, they'll what will happen is that some of the higher ups that know they're on their way out, and Kevin Dunn has done this before already, they'll sell off a bunch of their stock, but they'll probably sell it off to people that want to keep the company going, like Trips and staff, and maybe Shane too.
And Shane's the other third factor in all of this, which would be crazy. Yeah, I could see Vince cashing out at this point, essentially, is what I'm saying. Cashing out, retiring to the XFL, essentially, seeing if that project works. And if it doesn't, then, he just retires, I think. This might be his exit strategy.
Could be.
Well, either way, have fun slapping each other with money, boys, over at the WWE boys and girls over at the WWE headquarters. Don't cut yourself when you throw it. You'll leave the paper cuts. And if it's a pool of money, don't drown, or do drown. It doesn't really matter. You got enough money to do whatever the fuck you want.
It's the pool of the dead. I forget what that is in Spanish.
They could have a literal like DuckTales pool of coin.
See, that's what I was thinking.
And like they could install that, and they could have it. They could have new coins in there every single day, and it wouldn't make even a drop. So, and here's the other thing that's sad about all of this: we all know for a fact that none of the talent is going to see any of this money.
No,
yes, of course not.
Because
None of
they don't have a union. Ha ha.
Like the thing that WWE needs to do more than anything else is guys that are on top are doing just fine. They're making about $1 million a year. They could probably make some more. What they need to do is raise the bottom level, because that's what's going to get the talent to come into them. Like if the bottom level is $200,000 a year, then they can get more talent. It's scary. There's a lot of things that are going to change, and we're already seeing it with this WWE UK thing. They're just signing random people. That Toni Storm, who knows what her long-term role is going to be, but they're going to get her signed because they don't want her anywhere else.
Speaking of that, Shane McMahon underwent surgery for his hernia on May 11th. Randy Orton had arthroscopic knee surgery for an MCL tear and will be out for 2 months. Sasha Banks recently signed a new deal for multiple years. WWE will most likely hold the next Mae Young Classic on August 7th and 8th. And Toni Storm has also, as Dog said, signed to a UK contract, not an NXT one.
So real quick, was that your typical, what kind of hernia was it? Was it a stomach hernia or was it a bowel hernia? Does anybody know?
It was just a hernia, but we don't know.
I don't want to know if it's a bowel hernia. Let's be honest.
So you think
Anal bleeding.
Orton being gone is a good thing in the long term. He should just take, at least until SummerSlam off. What does Randy Orton need to be on any of these shows for? Like, he just doesn't.
So I wonder if they're, what are they going to do with her on the UK division? They don't have any other women on the UK division as far as I know.
It's purely a move to get her under contract is all it is.
Yeah, of course.
She'll still work with places like Progress and places that WWE is friendly with. She's basically on the same deal that Pete Dunne is on. She'll probably show up in NXT a lot, is what's going to happen more than anything else.
Yeah. I just wonder if this is going to prevent her from working Stardom or not.
No, that's the number one reason why they signed her, is that she won't be working Stardom anymore, more than likely.
That's a damn shame.
I assumed when she didn't sign initially that she was holding out. And I gotta wonder when Sasha
Discord just crashed on me. Hold on. Sorry about that. Dog was saying something about Sasha Banks.
Oh, yeah. I just wonder when Sasha negotiated that contract, because odds are she negotiated it before the money showed up, and she is probably kicking herself right now. She
Kevin
she
too.
last could have asked for.
Kevin too last week.
Yeah, Kevin is at that level where the money is probably not going to get much higher for him. He's definitely on that $1 million a year level. He probably is just fine. Whereas I'm assuming Sasha is not on the $1 million a year level, but could have been with the news of this new deal. I can't remember who was saying something along these lines. It was some sports reporter, but the idea is that if everyone on the WWE roster was paid comparable to what other professional athletes of like NBA, NFL level are paid, they would all be making about $5 million a year. Ain't nobody except maybe Brock is going to be making $5 million a year on that roster.
Maybe John.
Maybe John, but he's probably not around enough to command it.
Probably not around enough to earn it, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, we'll talk about some stuff in the 15-minute time limit here. About some stuff that has come up, basically. But we'll get into that here in a minute. Let's just finish this news. John Morrison will be on the next season of Survivor. Davids versus Goliaths. My Dad is a Heel Wrestler starting Hiroshi Tanahashi will release in Japan this summer. And Becky Lynch mentioned in an interview that she had to beg to be a Rosebud in order to get herself more exposure. Well, that's better than the other kind of exposure that another particular female wrestler who was in NXT participated in.
Oh, Lord. Who got the cheeky side of the camera this time?
I was just more referencing Charlotte doing her thing.
Oh. I thought somebody else might have. Never mind.
I thought you meant Paige.
Ooh.
That's what I was
Exactly.
thinking also.
Who, by the way, had a, well, maybe I shouldn't say.
Yeah, we all know. But yes, that happened.
Yeah, it's not important.
There's a topic I had for the 15-minute time limit. I just forgot it. It was in my head, and now it's out. Hold on a second.
Well, Gunner's thinking of that. Like, John Morrison's been doing so much work and has so many last names now.
Yes.
You've heard of Jericho and the Man of the Thousand Holds? Well, now
4004.
somebody's the Man of a Thousand Names.
Yeah. Like, every place he goes now, he has a different last name. It's pretty weird. I saw one recently, and I was like, wait, what? And I can't remember. I'd have to find it on Twitter again, but I don't want to dig through it.
So I want to make a prediction that on the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox, we'll see the return of the animal, Batista.
I completely agree with that. That makes perfect sense.
Batista's been talking about wanting to come back. SmackDown is going to need more stars on their brand. It's a perfect fit. He was always a SmackDown guy. I mean, for the most part, especially during the peak of his run. Except for that, I think that run at the end in 2010 when he was a heel on Raw, which was great too. But he's mostly known as a SmackDown guy. It just fits really, really well together.
So is the 20th anniversary in 2019? Because that's a good time to switch over too.
Yeah, it's 20th anniversaries in 2019.
Is that going to be happening? What day in 2019? Is that going to happen under Fox's new contract, or
it'll probably be in the fall opening?
Okay,
It'll probably be the fall season. That'll start that.
The first SmackDown was April 29th, 1999.
Yeah, so it's still not going to be under the new Fox contract when they have that 20th anniversary. So they'll do some fairly big stuff for that, but you know they're going to save the biggest guns until Fox. Also, it's just going to be really weird to see WWE on like cable TV again, or any kind of wrestling on cable TV again.
On the big networks, now that Fox is technically classified as one of the big networks.
I mean, it really has been, especially for the past like several decades.
It's just weird seeing WWE at least go back to network television for some part of its life.
Yeah, exactly. We're not talking SmackDown, sorry. We're not talking WWE's The Main Event, where they once a month preempted Saturday Night Live.
Wow. But like, it's gonna be crazy seeing the like return of like probably like a UPN era SmackDown, possibly, but on Fox.
By the way, just to squash this, and I know no one in this chat is dumb enough to think this, so thank you, all of you smart people. But SmackDown's going to be live on Friday nights.
Oh, totally.
Fox did not pay this preposterous amount of money to get a taped show, because that's what I see people asking. Well, do you think SmackDown's going to be taped? No, dumb fuck.
No.
They didn't pay this amount of money for a taped show. Otherwise, they would have kept all the comedies that they already had.
Whoever thinks that, like, just exactly what you said, they paid way too much money for this show, and why would you spend this much money on a taped show?
Yeah, why would you spend this much money if it's not 3 hours, or it's not going to 3 hours? Is the other thing that I keep running through my head.
We're in the 15 minutes out, though, by the way. We're just going to keep talking here. Another thought that I would like to bring up here. Impact Wrestling issues open challenge to any UK wrestling promotion to face them in an interpromotional series at Wrestling MediaCon 2018 on September 9th in Manchester.
Ooh.
I wonder who
So
they're going to get.
I hope it's Rev Pro, personally.
I don't think they'll do Rev Pro, because Rev
Yeah.
Pro's close to like Ring of Honor and New Japan and all that.
Yep, that's exactly the issue.
I think they might try to do like Progress or something.
Well, speaking of Progress and ICW currently scheduled to start on the WWE Network soon. Official announcement. Official could come at or around the UK tournament next month.
Well, this ought to be interesting because it is the first time, to my knowledge, that WWE has allowed any other programming besides its own on the network. Is that correct, do you think? I mean, they bought tape libraries left, right, and center. Hell, I'm still waiting for the Stampede Wrestling tape library to come out, but it probably never will. But, you know, they have all these other tape libraries that they own, so...
It's one of those things that's not really confirmed. It's been talked about forever, and you know, from what I heard, it's something that Vince keeps changing his mind on. But you know, I mean, now that World of Sport actually has done tapings and everything, you know, he might want to go that extra mile.
Well, I mean, this all still fits into their long-term goal with what NXT was supposed to be, where the idea is they want to have, you know, a branch of NXT in America, a branch in Europe, probably the UK, and then another branch somewhere probably in Japan or something along those lines, and then another one somewhere in South America. I think as this contract goes along, they're going to play more, especially like the SmackDown contract or things like that. They should really make a run at South America. Just the population there, the time zones fit. It's not a place that has a ton of other wrestling that's you know, in as competition there, and there's a potential of gaining a lot of a market share of that area especially outside of Brazil, where MMA is really popular, or even inside of Brazil, you can have a pretty damn good following. I think they're going to start looking in that direction for future growth here sooner rather than later.
Speaking of future growth, MLW is claiming that WWE is aggressively pursuing their talent. Court Bauer, by the way, is the founder of the MLW promotion that is currently operating in America right now, and they've signed a bunch of people under talent contracts, and they have some like a TV deal working on currently as we speak. I don't know who they signed or what TV deal.
Aren't they on beIN Sports?
Yeah, or something like that. But basically, during WrestleMania weekend, WWE aggressively pursued their talent that was already under contract. Mind you, you'd always take everything with MLW with a grain of salt, but
Well, I mean, if you look at their roster, you've got guys like Matt Riddle, who you know is going to be on WWE's radar, Jeff Cobb, who is obviously on their radar, Shane Strickland, who I'm sure is on the radar and should be on yours too, is probably one of the best independent wrestlers in the world right now. There's a lot of talent in that promotion, and it's not TNA. So there's always this outside chance that it could succeed. It's not even like what TNA was in 2010, where at some point sooner rather than later they're going to fail. MLW is just starting out, and it's a pretty damn good promotion. And the talent they've got there is solid. I don't think WWE is going to pursue, say, a Jack Swagger again, unless, maybe, who knows. But yeah, there's going to be, we've talked about this trend for a long time, just how everything is changing with streaming services and with how many different networks have popped up for cable and not on cable and the semi-cable stuff that's around now. More and more of this is going to be available, and these companies are going to look for cheap programming. And traditionally, pro wrestling is one of the cheapest parts of programming you can have on your TV station.
I have a Roku box right now for my television. I dare you, go to your Roku box if you had it. Search professional wrestling. The apps for professional wrestling shows are a plethora on there. It's really amazing.
And that's part of what's changed the game, is not only the access to that, but that people are actually using it now. They're using it as their main form of entertainment. I don't know how many people here have cable, but I don't. I haven't for a long time.
I don't.
So
I haven't had cable for 10 plus years.
It's creating it's creating a bubble, is what it's creating. Because sooner or later, something has to give, because it can't be this good all the time. But right now, in this bubble, wrestling is thriving, and it's awesome to see. MLW is doing great. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood is growing a bigger fan base and a bigger television base as well. And there's just so much and so many options, and all these networks who are desperate for any kind of original programming that people are going to tune in and watch consistently. That's why WWE got the money that it did. People tune in and watch Raw and SmackDown consistently. It's only a few million a week. Fine. But it's every single week. And there have been so many weeks where we thought, the number is going to drop below 2 for SmackDown. It still hasn't. It's just crazy. It's an amazing time.
This is going to be some nuts. This decade we're about to get into here is going to be absolutely insane when it comes to professional wrestling. We're obviously going to see it in September with All In, but I think that we're going to see it even more with the after effects of All In, because what's going to happen is that you're going to see All In be successful. You're going to see All In be WrestleMania successful. And if a bunch of Joes can get together and put that kind of event together in a town like that, then there is no reason why, if you scale that down a little bit, you can see that being more successful around the country, essentially. And if you make super special shows of super independent things where it's like, somebody put it all together and there's no title and there's no other fun stuff, but it's put together by the Bucks and Cody, for example, and it's a super special event that's only going to happen and we don't know when the next one's going to be. I could see this being, a new fad, essentially, in professional wrestling, where it's like, essentially, it becomes a super indie. Now, super indies I would normally classify as those indies that run in Long Island and the Los Angeles area, essentially, that bring in, a giant amount of ex-WWE talent. And that's what it was maybe about 10 years ago or so. But now it's, now it's this. Now it's selling out 10,000 seat arenas with just, this whole idea of we're going to be counterculture to what wrestling is right now. And there are a lot of educated people who understand and who have access to this wrestling, because obviously we're not tape trading anymore, boys. We're in the age of the internet and the information age. So we're going to see a lot of this, participate and, propagate was the word I'm looking for here, and become larger.
Well, you said a magic word there, Gunner, and I want to just trip over it a couple more times. Counterculture. Do you think in this day and age where we're seeing a homogenization, and I will say that, of the WWE product and, other people trying to stray away from it in one form or another, do you think that this much wrestling, this much exposure will cause a homogenization of other products? Do you think there can be such a thing as a counterculture in professional wrestling now?
I think what we're going to see is we're going to see New Japan's TV deal become a really big thing when it comes up with Access TV, because it's big enough to the point where it offers a solid fan base. It's not going to be huge, but it's going to be consistent, and it just keeps getting bigger. And it really doesn't look, it's kind of clear that it's just going to keep getting bigger, and it just does bigger numbers all the time, every year. And they've got one of the most stacked rosters in a long ass time. It's just absolutely loaded with talent. Maybe a little bit light on the junior division, but still. I think that's going to be a really big deal here. I think Major League Wrestling, if they can keep it together, could end up being a bigger player than where they're at right now. I don't think they'll ever be like ROH level, but they could be a fairly big deal. There's going to be a lot of moving and shaking over this next 3 or 4 years with all these other companies, because WWE raised the ceiling for them. That's the reality of it.
If you tell me that one of the smaller, like Amazon or Netflix, picks up a live wrestling show,
smaller, that really stretches the definition of smaller.
Well, major TV. I'm talking not major TV brands.
I know what you mean, but those two companies are pouring more money into television-like production than they ever have before, and that's only going to go up too.
Well, Netflix just signed, for example, a Ryan Reynolds movie for $150 million budget.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah, for Netflix.
Okay. Totally off the subject of wrestling for 2 seconds. If I do not get a Robotech television show within the next 5 years, I'm going to go on a bombing campaign.
Good Lord.
Please don't say that out loud and on a podcast, because that's really going to put you on a goddamn list.
Okay, that was a joke. Everybody. But they're throwing money left, right, and center. This is great for professional wrestling, but how much crap is actually going to get on television or any sort of thing that we can see it?
So if they don't give you a Robotech television show, you're going to hit up comedy clubs all across the country?
Oh. Across the country.
Leave it to Omega BR to take my jokes and put them where they belong, the trash.
So are you calling amateur comedians trash? That's That's pretty offensive, Jester.
Not everybody else, just little old me.
Oh, self-deprecating. That's the way we like you. All right, let's
I'm
just.
gonna have to ask Sam for some hefty bags.
Can I just ask one thing before we move on from this?
Yeah.
What are the odds? Because the next step for this is televised NXT, whether we like it or not.
Yep.
What are the odds that in the next few years we see someone make a serious offer to put NXT on television?
All right, I have a proposition for that. It's going to be FS1. It's going to be
Really?
It's going to be FS1, and it's going to be in the next 2 years, and it'll be like ECW was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah,
Oh.
I could definitely see that with a more sporting broadcast presentation style to it. Having a guy like Mauro Ranallo as the voice of it, who Mauro is becoming a very recognized star at this point.
Yeah, we need to get into that for a couple of seconds too, but keep going.
But it's and then the guys on the roster right now in NXT, like, I love him to death. Velveteen Dream is the man. He would, we've all seen what's going to happen to him on the main roster. He'll be the next Tyler Breeze, or where No Way Jose is going. Just keep him on NXT, and then you have him as a draw there. Eventually, someone's going to want it. It's just the logical next step. Is either we're going to see pay-per-views on TV, or we're going to see NXT on TV, or both. Because, man, you look at the money they're making with these TV deals. I'm sure WWE is thinking, we could probably produce more TV at this point.
And I'm sure that they'll want to get their other network shows on TV as well.
No way in hell Camp WWE gets on network television.
Well, maybe not network television, but, I think that maybe the Table for Three series might actually make it there.
Oh, yeah. Anybody catch last night's? That was pretty good.
I haven't yet, but I'm going to. All right. Let's wrap this up. Let's get to the Dairy Queen drive-thru here.
Can we hold on for just 1 second? I want to hit one more issue real quick.
Sure.
As you know, Mauro Ranallo is NXT's voice and is also on Showtime. And Showtime just put out a wonderful documentary on Mauro called The Bipolar Rock and Roller, with his dealings with bipolar disorder. And he stated publicly in an interview that the reason he left SmackDown had nothing to do with JBL. It had to do with his bipolar disorder, and he didn't think he could do the travel anymore. So what does this, do you think anybody will make any sort of, after Mauro has done that public declaration towards JBL with any form of an apology, or where do you think this goes from here? Does JBL
nowhere.
Form or another?
No, because JBL is a cunt.
Nowhere. This is an over issue. This was over a year ago when he got brought back into NXT. This is not a problem. You could have waited till that could have been something to watch this week, in my opinion. But it's not a problem at all.
Well, did he actually say that it was specifically the
He did.
name? Did he just say that it was because of the bipolarism? Because if it was the bipolarism, the idea is that JBL made it worse.
He did not say JBL's name in the interview, but he did say that it was because of the bipolar disorder and how much time he had to spend on the road for not only SmackDown, but other pay-per-view appearances and other appearances on Showtime, and his massive workload, which the WWE added on to there. So even though he never said Jibble's name, he put forth plainly that JBL pretty much had nothing to do with it, and it was all the travel.
Yeah, he just overworked himself, and he needed a break. And when he came back, NXT is I think a better fit because it's less stress on him. He doesn't have to travel as much, but there's still travel. So.
Well, he didn't make it any better, but certainly the travel is a very heavy strain on everybody.
Anyways, time for the Dairy Queen drive-through, and I'm going to be reading the ratings.
Drive through.
Starting off, as usual, with Impact. It's 326,000 viewers, up from 295,000 the week previous. On to Raw, 2.668 million, down from the 2.741 million the week previous. And finally, on to SmackDown with 2.195 million, down from the 2.298 million the week previous. And that is it for the ratings.
Birthdays, dog.
Happy birthdays. How about today? Happy birthday to Strangler, Evan Lewis. Also to Ricky Romero and Johnny Case. Is that supposed to be Johnny Ace? Or is that actually a dude named Johnny Case?
Johnny Case.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Anyway, happy birthdays tomorrow to Frenchie Martin, to June Byers, to William Muldoon, to Snake Amami. And then also happy birthdays on the 26th to Ashley Massaro. Then on the 27th, happy birthday to Sandy Scott, to Tamba the Flying Elephant, to El Monarca, and also to Mark Gedge or Jedge. Also, happy birthday on the 28th to Dick Lane, to Paul Bowser, to Terry Scholl, to Clem Turner, to Bluebeard Bill Lewis, and a Chief Lone Eagle. Then on the 29th, happy birthdays to Ronnie Gossett, Jerry Carroll, Jerry Monahan, and DJ Riz. And then on the 30th next week, happy birthdays to Full Contact and El Dinamico #1, also to Jim Haiti. Those are the birthdays.
DJ Riz having that classic 5-star match.
Oh, please. He is no Lars Sullivan, guys. Let's temper. Let's temper ourselves.
He knew how to pop that crowd. Also, I'd like to bring up Johnny Case here for a second, because you're like, is that Johnny Ace? No, Johnny Case is actually a wrestler from Antioch, Illinois, and he wrestled between 1955 and 1980.
Oh. So it's possible that Johnny Ace just like completely stole his name for his gimmick.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, it's wrestling. That's just how it goes.
And now it is time for This Week in Wrestling with Omega BR.
Yes, this weekend wrestling history. It's like a 1987 where WWF ran in Denver, Colorado, featuring Randy Savage defeating Tito Santana, and the Hart Foundation defeating the British Bulldogs in a steel cage match via escape. Jump to 1996, where Mitsuharu Misawa and Jun Akiyama defeat Toshiaki Kawada and Akira Tao for the All Japan Tag Team titles in Sapporo, Japan, ending their third reign. And in 2007, ECW featured CM Punk and Rob Van Dam defeating Elijah Burke and Marcus Corvan via disqualification after Corvan constantly interfered in the match, despite not being the legal man. And that was This Weekend Wrestling History.
Wow. Burke and Corvan. There's a couple of names I haven't heard of forever.
Well, Burke was in TNA for a long time doing commentary, so...
As the Pope, yeah, I remember that.
Happy Trails this week to John Cena and Nikki Bella, who are, quote, basically back together, according to several gossip outlets. And happy trails to the Bella Twins, after their new season debut of Total Bellas, did the lowest number in the history of the show.
Do you suppose that's it, or can we be that lucky?
Man, I'll tell you what, with the amount of promotion they put into this year's version, and it doing the lowest number is a not good sign. That said, who knows? On the premiere, nonetheless. Good God.
Right? Fucking terrible. What should we watch this week in wrestling? Where?
You know what? Since we're on the road to Money in the Bank, I'm probably gonna have to recommend CM Punk versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. Money in the Bank 2011, I believe.
Yes, that is the one. Shao Kahn.
This week you should watch Lacey Evans versus Kyrie Sane.
Let's see here. Vassar.
This week you should watch Hiromu Takahashi versus Desperado in, was it night 4 of the, night 4 of Best of the Super Juniors. It was
3 or 4.
It was a hell of a match. I thought they were gonna kill each other, honestly, but then again, that's half of New Japan matches. That are, yeah.
Omega BR, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
Lana versus Billy Kay in a Money in the Bank qualifying match.
Weird, but fun.
Save Us Dog, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
Okay. Since we were talking about it earlier, and since I really like the promotion, and because they're probably the promotion that's done the best, like, combinations, it's sort of a sports presentation. It's time for y'all to check out MLW, Major League Wrestling. And on YouTube, actually, not only can you find the first 2 episodes of their television show, MLW Fusion, completely for free online if you're in the US, because BN Sports knows that there's almost no market presence for their channel in the US. But you will also find the very first MLW World Heavyweight Champion title fight, and that is the name of the video. MLW World Heavyweight Champion title fight. It is Shane Strickland versus Matt Riddle for one of the most ridiculously large championships I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, you think you've seen some big title belts before? The MLW Championship dwarfs them. It is massive.
Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor and post that link in the chat? I will be watching that later.
Sure. And by the way, as you're watching these shows, you're going to hear a very, very familiar voice, a voice that has not done commentary on professional wrestling on television for probably decades at this point. The one, the only, Tony Schiavone.
Oh, my.
How the fuck you pronounce it?
Tony Schiavone, actually, really, damn.
And it sort of adds to the whole, they're doing kind of a more sporting presentation with it, but it's still very much professional wrestling. Check it out. It's a damn good product on the roster. I mean, on episode 1, there's Pentagon versus Phoenix. I believe there's Austin Aries versus ACH. Just a ton of talent on this show. So check it out.
Ned Jester, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
Well, I'm going to do something that I hardly ever do, and I'm going to check out a match in the coming future. Next week, there will be NXT women's title match between Shayna the Boar Baszler, because she sometimes bores us to death, and Dakota Kai. And this is a storyline that I've been finding interesting because will they really go as far as to put the belt on Dakota, or because she's facing her bully, quote unquote, or is this just sort of a thing to get Baszler more over? We'll find out next week, but I find the storyline interesting. I just hope the match will be good.
This week you should watch ACH versus Flip Gordon.
Oh god, that was a really good match. I expected a lot less out of it, but ACH really let Flip the show off.
I find ACH to be a fantastic worker.
Yeah.
And doesn't get the respect he deserves.
Easily one of the most underrated workers and professional wrestlers on the planet today. All right.
Sounds good.
Go ACH. Push ACH.
To the moon, brother.
Absolutely. All right. I think I think that's it for this week. Thank you all very much for listening. This has been episode 304 of the Smark Snark podcast. Check us out online, smarksnark.com, twitter.com, facebook.com/smarksnark. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thanks, Vassar, for pinch hitting this week. Yankum will be back next week, more than likely. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And I will, we still don't have it closed.
I wouldn't do a lot of the things you've done. I don't even think I could. They disgust me too much. You sick bastard.
I would probably be just too tired to do them, working stiff and all.
Good night, Midval.
Heck of a show, boys. Heck of a show.